With us, a 6-year-old girl was buried yesterday. She died of her injuries after being raped. Police says the suspect in the case was previously arrested for the rape of a 7-year-old. In Gauteng, the North Gauteng High Court sentenced Nicholas Ninau to life behind bars for the rape of a 7-year-old girl. So we ask, what is the procedure or process for rehabilitating sexual abuse offenders, particularly those found guilty of raping children? Vanessa Padayachee from the National Institute for Crime Prevention and the Reintegration of Offenders is my guest. Good morning to you, Vanessa. What should we be doing in these cases?
Good morning, Jane. Good morning, viewers. I think it's very important, Jane. It's very serious what we're facing as a country, and I think we really need to take this quite seriously. And I think what is very important is to understand also why. I think each individual offender, there's such a complexity of factors, and I think understanding why will help us know how to prevent these victimization. It will give us strategies on what we need to do as a society to really prevent this horrifying scourge of rape and sexual violence in our country.
I mean, Nino's a big
and unless
example
we know
of it,
what the factors are, so
jumping in here, I mean,
yes.
You know, we heard the stories of the sort of abuse that he experienced as a child, and often the offenders, by the time they get to the stage where they do offend, there should have been intervention already.
Yes, and that's another very serious issue is interventions for victims and child abuse victims, victimization if it's not dealt with and not healed earlier. And I really think that's a very critical issue, and resources need to be attached to that as well.
All right, so what is the current process for rehabilitation?
Okay, well, if you get sentenced, I think in the court process there are provisions for social workers and psychologists and psychiatrists to input into assessment reports that can go into court. NICRO is one of those organizations that does do assessments in cases like this to really find out what the key factors are that has caused, looking at historical factors, family background, psychological, biological. What is actually, why has this person perpetrated this offense? And then that is presented to a court, and then, you know, sentencing is decided upon. In prison, when you go into prison, there's specialized sexual offenses programs, but I'm not sure that everybody is categorized according to, like, child sexual offenders separately from other sex offenders. And I think that's where the danger is that there are common factors, but I think we really need to seriously have proper assessments that can tell us exactly what set of interventions this particular individuals would need. And also what's further important is once they're released from prison, you also need supervision and management of those behaviors. And that is lacking. We find that sometimes people are released and into the very same community, and there's not sufficient monitoring in terms of those behaviors.
Vanessa,
can they ever be properly rehabilitated?
Can they ever be properly rehabilitated? And is jail the place to rehabilitate them?
Well, not for all offenders. There are those who are dangerous to society, and so unfortunately we have to put them into a prison system. But there are others that can benefit from rehabilitation in the community. Sometimes cognitive errors need to be sorted out. Sometimes it's life skills that need to be learned or behaviors that need to be unlearned, and that can be done in a community-based program. But it all depends, and there needs to be risk assessments in place to just make sure that this person will commit no further victimization.
All right.
And yes, we have seen people being rehabilitated, and thanks.
Oh, sorry to cut you off there. Vanessa Padayachee, good to talk to you. Thank you.